The cameras flashed, the crowd froze, and just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession.
It is such a cinematic way to put it, but honestly, it is entirely accurate.
Right. I mean, we're starting today with a headline that has just absolutely taken over the digital landscape. I'm talking top of the trending charts. Every group chat is buzzing about it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The internet is losing its collective mind today.
Because after a year that saw him walk back from the very brink of death, the legend himself is writing a brand new chapter that honestly nobody saw coming.
Nobody, I mean, not a single person had this on their 2026 bingo card.
Definitely not. So welcome to the deep dive, everyone. We are so glad you are joining us today because we are unpacking a story that completely shattered the news cycle at exactly 7:08 a.m. on May 12th, 2026.
Thank you, TMZ, for that very early morning wake-up call.
Seriously, TMZ broke it, and within minutes, it was everywhere. 58-year-old Oscar-winning legend Jamie Foxx and his partner, 30-year-old Australian fitness professional Alyce Huckstepp, are expecting their first baby together.
And the craziest part, she is reportedly already several months along.
Which is just, it's wild. It is an astonishingly well-kept secret in an industry where, the entire business model relies on leaks.
Right. And to really understand the mechanics of how they pulled this off, we are pulling from a pretty diverse stack of sources for today's deep dive.
What are we looking at?
So we have the Rapid Fire Entertainment Reports, TMZ, Us Weekly, Extra TV, all the usual suspects.
Yeah.
But we are pairing those with a really comprehensive strategic analysis report.
Oh, that's where it gets interesting.
Yeah, it examines the couple's interpersonal resilience and basically the entire PR architecture surrounding them over the last 3 years.
And that really is our mission for you today. If you are listening to this, we want to invite you to look way beyond the standard celebrity gossip.
Exactly. This isn't just about who is dating who.
No, not at all. Because the ultimate takeaway here isn't just a pregnancy announcement. It is literally a masterclass in how a public figure navigates the absolute brink of death, stages this miraculous physical and professional comeback, and then just rewrites his own legacy through late-stage fatherhood.
It is a profound arc. And I think the reason this announcement hit the public with such sheer, unadulterated shock is largely due to the elaborate misdirection that preceded it.
The smokescreen.
The smokescreen, yes. If you were casually following the tabloids, this pregnancy is incredibly jarring.
Because everyone thought they were over.
Right. The dominant narrative for the past year was that these two had definitively and permanently split in January 2025.
Yeah, I remember seeing those headlines everywhere. And Fox didn't just let those breakup rumors sit there quietly, did he?
Not even a little bit.
He actively poured gasoline on them. I mean, he used his December 2024 Netflix comedy special. What had happened was to aggressively sell the idea that he was a single man.
He really did.
Can you walk us through exactly how he utilized that platform? Because I am just fascinated by how the press swallowed it whole.
It was honestly a brilliant exercise in narrative satiation.
Mm-hmm.
So in that special, he sits at the piano, right? And he literally sings that he is, quote, cured of everything, no more white girls.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and he jokes that he is looking for romance on the black side of town, and he declares, quote, no more potato salad and raisins.
Which is hilarious, but so pointed.
Extremely pointed.
Yeah.
Because Alyce Huckstepp is a white Australian. So the media took that comedic performance as ironclad, autobiographical proof that the relationship was dead and buried.
Okay, let's really unpack this, because on one hand, it's hilarious, classic Jamie Foxx, but on the other hand, it's incredibly strategic.
Very strategic.
It is like he deployed an information decoy flare. He shoots this loud, provocative joke up into the sky, the entire media apparatus turns to look at it, and meanwhile, he is quietly living his actual romantic life in the shadows.
That is a perfect analogy.
But I do have to push back a little here. Do we really think a comedian writes a joke months in advance, specifically to provide cover for a secret reconciliation? Or did the press just kind of misinterpret a standard stand-up routine?
Well, that is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the strategic analysis report dives right into this. You have to look at Fox's historical relationship with the press.
Which has always been a bit of a cat-and-mouse game.
Exactly. He has always practiced what PR analysts call selective transparency. He has never been married, he keeps his romantic life murky, but he intimately understands the appetite of the tabloid ecosystem.
He knows how the machine works.
Right. He knows that if you starve the press, they will dig. They will find something. But if you feed them a highly quotable, culturally resonant caricature like him joking about cultural differences in dating, they will take the, quote, printed and stop digging.
Wow. So by feeding them the exact stereotype they expected, he bought himself privacy.
Precisely. He weaponized his own comedic persona. I mean, he gave the public the breakup story they wanted to hear, which successfully deflected all that media scrutiny.
And that deflection gave him and Alice the breathing room they needed.
Yeah, it gave them the necessary privacy to reconcile in secret shortly after that special aired.
It makes complete sense when you break it down like that. But it also leads us to a much deeper question.
Which is?
If they had to go through all of this theatrical misdirection just to protect their relationship, what made this bond so intensely worth protecting?
Yeah. We had to look at what they survived.
Right, because I know they went through a massive medical emergency in 2023, but can you detail just how severe that was? Because the timeline here seems really critical to understanding them as a couple.
The timeline is absolutely the crucible of their relationship. So they first appeared on the public radar in May 2022, photographed on a yacht in Cannes.
Oh, classic Hollywood debut.
Exactly. And then a few months later, in August 2022, she accompanied him to the day shift premiere. At that point, it presented as a very standard Hollywood romance. The A-lister and the younger fitness professional.
You see it all the time.
Right. But then we hit April 2023. Fox is in Atlanta filming the massive Netflix project Back in Action with Cameron Diaz. And he suffers a life-threatening brain hemorrhage that leads to a stroke.
Which was just shocking news when it broke.
Totally unprecedented. And the severity here, it really cannot be overstated. According to the medical leaks and his own later admissions, Foxx was in a stone-cold coma for 20 days.
20 days? That is terrifying.
He had to completely relearn how to walk. He literally called it the worst year of his life.
I can't even imagine.
And during that period, Alyce Huckstepp's role fundamentally shifted. She went from casual girlfriend to vital, everyday caregiver.
And I want to pause right here because I think it is so important to challenge a very cynical, pervasive Hollywood assumption.
Please do.
When you hear about a wildly successful 50-something actor dating a 30-year-old fitness model, the immediate cultural reflex is to assume it is fair weather dating. Oh, totally. The gold digger trope.
Exactly. The stereotype says that she is around for the red carpets, the yachts in Cannes, the private jets. But I want you, the listener, to really think about the reality of a stroke recovery.
It is not glamorous.
Not at all. Alyce wasn't just around when the cameras were flashing. She was a constant presence when the tubes were running out of him, when he was entirely unconscious for nearly 3 weeks.
Right.
That completely shatters the transactional Hollywood dating trope. It is just real, raw devotion.
It absolutely shatters it. And we need to be very precise about the psychology of what happened next. Because often in pop culture, people misuse the clinical term trauma bonding to describe this kind of relationship.
Yeah, you hear that term thrown around on TikTok all the time.
Right, but trauma bonding actually refers to a toxic attachment between an abuser and a victim.
Oh, I see.
What the strategic analysis report highlights here is a phenomenon more accurately described as adversity-induced cohesion, or post-traumatic growth. Adversity-induced cohesion. Okay, I like that. Break down how that actually works in the brain for us.
Well, when an individual faces sudden, undeniable mortality, it forces an immediate, brutal audit of their life. Your brain's attachment system literally rewires itself.
Because everything else just falls away.
Exactly. Superficial concerns burn away, and you become profoundly bonded to the people who provided safety when you had zero agency or power.
Which was Alice.
Yes. During those dark months of arduous rehabilitation, when Foxx didn't even know if he would ever speak properly again, let alone return to the screen, Alice provided a baseline of normalcy, dignity, joy.
That is beautiful, honestly.
That shared experience of extreme vulnerability accelerates intimacy exponentially. They weren't just dating anywhere, they were surviving together.
Which also means she had to navigate his inner circle during a time of maximum panic.
Yes, that is a huge factor.
Because the sources talk about this airtight PR strategy managed by Jamie's daughter, Corinne, and his sister, Deidre, they completely locked down the hospital floor and the information flow. How did Alice fit into that incredibly defensive family posture?
Well, she passed the ultimate modern loyalty test.
Which is?
She stayed completely silent.
No social media.
None. In a media landscape where a single cryptic Instagram post can be monetized for hundreds of thousands of dollars, Alice adhered strictly to the family's code of silence. She didn't leak updates, she didn't seek sympathy from the press, and crucially, she doesn't even maintain a public digital footprint.
That is so rare today.
It is. That total compliance and focus on his healing earned her the deep, unshakable trust of his adult daughters.
Which is not easy to do when you're entering a family dynamic that established.
Exactly. And that is exactly why international media outlets like the Hindustan Times are now framing this pregnancy as a miracle baby narrative.
I saw that headline.
Yeah, it isn't just about a new child. It is the ultimate, undeniable symbol of his physical restoration and the family's overall victory over tragedy.
But wait, here is where I get genuinely confused.
Okay, what's confusing?
If they survived all of that together, right? If they achieved this profound adversity-induced cohesion, what on earth could have driven them to split up in January 2025?
It does seem counterintuitive,
Why go through the fire just to walk away from each other?
because surviving the fire is only phase 1.
Okay.
Phase 2 is figuring out how to live after you survive. The reported reason for their January 2025 separation was that Fox's schedule was, quote, super busy, just the way he likes it.
Right, because his comeback was monumental. Back in Action finally dropped on Netflix, and it became their biggest English movie debut since 2022.
It was massive.
He was absolutely firing on all cylinders again.
Exactly. And psychologists will tell you that when a highly driven person survives something that should have killed them, there are generally 2 behavioral reactions.
What are they?
You either retreat into a quiet, heavily guarded retirement to protect your remaining time,
Oh.
or you roar back to life, desperate to reclaim every single thing you almost lost.
And Fox clearly chose to roar back.
He clearly chose the latter. But that high-octane career drive requires immense energy, and that inevitably created severe friction with the domestic stability they had built during his recovery.
I see. So it's not like a rubber band snapping, it's more like centrifugal force.
Ooh, I like that.
Like as his career started spinning faster and faster, generating all this massive momentum and demanding all of his time, that outward force physically pulled them apart.
That is a phenomenal way to visualize it.
The sheer velocity of his comeback just made it impossible to maintain the quiet, intimate orbit they had in the recovery room.
Exactly. The centrifugal force of his A-list status pulled them apart temporarily, but the gravity of what they survived together was ultimately stronger.
The gravity brought them back.
Yes, and we can actually track the timeline of this gravitational pull using what PR analysts call celebrity staging grounds.
Okay, I have seen this term in the sources we reviewed. What exactly is a celebrity staging ground, and how did they use it?
A staging ground is a highly specific physical location that celebrities use to communicate with the public without ever having to issue a formal press release.
Oh, that is so manipulative, but brilliant.
It is the game. So in April 2025, just a few months after the supposed split, Jamie and Alice were photographed together at Nobu in Malibu.
Wait, so you are saying they don't just happen to get caught by a lucky photographer while eating sushi. It's a deliberate choice to go there.
Absolutely deliberate. Nobu is deeply embedded in the paparazzi ecosystem.
Really?
Oh yeah. The photographers know exactly where to wait, and the celebrities know exactly which valet line guarantees a high-definition photo. If you want a private dinner, you go to a private club.
But if you want the world to know you are reconciling,
You go to Nobu.
that is fascinating. So it's essentially a nonverbal press release.
Exactly. And the staging continued. By Halloween 2025, they were completely inseparable. They did a highly visible boat tour and were spotted dining at Kiki on the river in Miami.
Very public, very visible spots.
Right. If you analyze the latter half of 2025, it was utilized as a period of private consolidation. They had to figure out how to balance the centrifugal force of his immense professional demands with their shared domestic needs.
And clearly, they successfully negotiated that balance.
They did. Which brings us to the ultimate domestic milestone, the pregnancy.
Which introduces a dynamic into the Fox family that is, honestly, wild to wrap your head around. Let's do the math on this baby for a second.
Please do, because the numbers here are quite staggering.
Okay, so Jamie is 58 years old. His oldest daughter, Corinne, whom he actually just walked down the aisle at her wedding, is 32.
Right.
His middle daughter, Anelise, is 17. That means this new baby is going to be over 3 decades younger than their oldest sister.
32 years.
I want you to really think about that family dynamic if you're listening. A 32-year sibling gap isn't just an age difference. They're going to be raised in entirely different technological, cultural, and social generations.
It is a massive generational leap. But if we pull back and look at the broader sociological context, Fox is actually participating in a very distinct, growing trend here.
Really? Late-stage fatherhood is a trend.
Very much so. We're seeing a significant wave of A-list male celebrities embracing late-stage fatherhood in their late 50s, 60s, and even older.
Why do you think that is becoming so common? I mean, is it just the sheer fact that they have the money to afford infinite nannies?
Well, the immense financial security is certainly the enabler, yes.
Mm.
But sociologically and psychologically, it is often driven by a desire for a veteran perspective on parenting.
A veteran perspective, what does that mean in practice?
When you are in your 20s or 30s, like Jamie was when Corinne was born, you are actively building a massive Hollywood empire. Your focus, your time, and your anxiety are inherently split between your ambition and your child.
You're hustling.
Exactly. But at 58, having achieved the absolute pinnacle of industry success, there is a profound desire to experience parenting purely for the joy and legacy of it, entirely stripped of early career distraction.
That actually makes a lot of sense. And in Fox's case, it's not just about surviving Hollywood. It's about surviving a coma.
Which changes everything.
It gives this news such a heavy, beautiful, existential grounding, especially when you contrast it with the absolute triviality of everything else happening in Hollywood in 2026.
Oh, the contrast is stark.
The sources actually highlight this contrast perfectly. Right
Yeah.
now, the entertainment landscape is just chaotic fluff.
He really is.
You look at TMZ, and they were reporting on Hilary Duff landing the Sports Illustrated swimsuit cover, basically to remind everyone she's still relevant.
Right.
Then you have Katy Perry on TikTok literally fake crying to her own song, The One That Got Away, because her ex, Josh Groban, just got engaged to Natalie McQueen.
It's all ego and superficial drama.
Exactly. It's just noise. And then cutting right through all that noise, you have Jamie Foxx, a man who is staring down death creating new life.
The juxtaposition is striking. And Fox's situation stands out even more because it actually defies his own stated historical philosophies.
Oh, you mean his thoughts on marriage?
Yes. If you read his memoir, Act Like You've Got Some Sense, he is very open about his deep aversion to the institution of marriage.
Yeah, he has never tied the knot.
Right. He historically never felt that formalizing a relationship was necessary to provide a loving, structured environment.
So if he is averse to marriage, what does this mean for his long-term future with Alice and the baby?
Well, it means that his next great legacy project is going to be the navigation of a massive, complex, multi-generational estate.
That is going to be quite the balancing act.
Absolutely. He has always been deeply, fundamentally committed to co-parenting and maintaining strong, respectful relationships with the mothers of his children. I mean, he has adult daughters who are already actively integrated into his business ventures and PR strategies.
Corinne literally produces his shows.
Exactly. Now, he will be raising a newborn alongside them. The shared trauma of his near-fatal illness, combined with the arrival of this child with Alice, might shift his perspective on formalizing his union, though that remains to be seen.
True. People change after near-death experiences.
They do, but what is undeniable is that family, in all its unconventional structures, is the absolute anchor of his post-recovery life.
It is just incredible to marvel at his arc over the last 3 years. I mean, let's just recap the sheer scale of this for a second.
It is a lot to take in.
Surviving a 20-day coma, fighting through grueling physical rehab to learn how to walk again, staging a massive Hollywood comeback with a hit movie, masterfully using his comedy chops as a decoy flair to fool the global press about his relationship.
The Nobu staging grounds.
Exactly, and ultimately bringing new life into the world with the exact woman who stood by his bedside when the cameras were nowhere to be found.
It is a profound, triumphant journey. But, it also leaves us with a highly complex psychological question, one that I think is deeply worth pondering as we wrap up today.
Lay it on us.
We often look at a man having a child at 58, especially after a near-death experience, as the ultimate victory.
Right, the miracle baby narrative.
But there is an inherent paradox to late-stage fatherhood. By creating this new life now, he is essentially guaranteeing that this child will likely lose their father at a relatively young age in their adult life.
Oh, wow. I honestly hadn't thought about it from the child's perspective.
It is heavy. It forces us to ask, when you survive a near-fatal event, is the immediate desire to have a new child purely an act of selfless legacy building? Or is it, on some subconscious level, a psychological rebellion against the mortality you just evaded?
Wow.
Is creating life the ultimate way to prove to yourself that the clock hasn't run out, even if it inherently saddles that new child with the burden of an aging parent? It is a fascinating tension between the triumph of surviving today and the inevitable realities of tomorrow.
A psychological rebellion against the mortality you just evaded.
Yeah.
That is a heavy, brilliantly complex thought to leave you with today.
It really makes you think about the motives behind the headlines.
It absolutely does. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. Keep looking beyond the headlines, keep questioning the mechanics of the narrative, and remember, sometimes the most impressive thing a public figure can do isn't the comeback they stage for the world.
It's what happens in private.
Exactly. It is the quiet, undeniable life they build behind the smokescreen. We will catch you next time.